What's going on, guys? Welcome to my channel. Still Cali WRX, but as you guys can see, I don't have a WRX anymore. I have a 98 e36 M3, so in due time I will change the name, and also it might not be Cali anymore, so we'll see what the future holds. But today we're going to be doing a full walk around of the car, as for the most part it's pretty set up to where it's going to be for a while. There is a couple things that I still need to do, which I'll just tell you right now is I bought front splitter stands, and then Eric, the guy who made the wood splitter for the Subaru, he's going to be making one for this car as well, and then I'll be getting a new alignment. But yeah, so I'm getting new camber adjustment and all that, negative 3.8, maybe 4 in the front, 2.5 in the rear, because of right now the car is understeering a lot, so going with that. But I guess we'll start on the outside first, as that's what you guys see. So it is a, let's see, it's a Cheetah Wraps charcoal matte gray, and then we have a front lip. We have APR GT3 style mirrors with the bracket I made out of carbon, and then we have an LTW replica wing, depot smoked tail lights. I left the tow hooks in just because it was from the track, but that gloss black roof, carbon fiber sunroof delete. But that basically does it for exterior. Still headlights, still with the amber turn signals and everything. We do have this pinstripe. As far as exterior goes, not that much done to it, so we'll go ahead and move onto wheels and suspension. So right now the stock wheels staggered 17 by 7, 17 by 8 in the rear, with RS4s. The tracks that I have are Apex Arc 8 wheels. They are not staggered, they are square 17 by 9s ET42, but I'm running a 255 tire on that. So those are the track wheels. These are like the daily tires. And then for suspension, they're ground control coilovers with iBox springs. So it's about 10K, 8K. So that's the spring rates they have. We have a Turner 30 millimeter front sway bar. There is the original sway bar in the rear. And then I'll go ahead and pop the trunk. There is a, sorry, it's a mess in here. As you guys can see, a strut bar in the rear, as well as welded reinforcement plates. And in the front of the car, same thing, I have welded strut towers. So welded strut towers by SLZ Performance, but no strut bar. And then bushing wise, there's a ton. I just got the whole rear subframe and diff done with rev shift bushings, the 95A. So rear subframe, diff bushing, and then I got the Synchro Works monoball trailing arm, and then I got the R-tab pockets welded as well. So making sure all the weak points of this car is ready for the track, as the driver's side R-tab pocket was actually starting to crack. I'll throw a picture up on the screen right now. So it's definitely a good thing that we caught that. And then the bushings, they were being torn as well, so might as well get those taken. M3 or whatever, the E36 X brace on the front. We have Turner rear lower control arms. I got engine mount and tranny mount from Rodell. Speaking of rear diff, it's the Speed GarageWorks 3.72 with a two-way 40% lockup, and from what I can tell on the track, it's great so far. The power out is decent, but what I like is you don't have to shift a lot. Fourth gear and third gear are mainly what you're going to be in. Compared to my Subaru, I was shifting so much because that power band in the turbo, but with this rear diff, definitely seems to work. It'll be interesting to see on a higher speed track like Butts and Willow. I heard the sweet spot for this car is like a 3.6, a 3.4 rear diff, but we'll see. Since we're on drivetrain, we'll go ahead and say I have the IRP shifter with the DSSR and then the ACS delete with a UUC short shifter. The IRP shifter, I don't know. It's a love-hate relationship. Love because I just like how notchy it is and how short the throws are, but hate because I don't know. There's just on the track, it's good. You won't miss shift. It's very it has a lot of good feedback. But after driving like an RTD, which Rodell has in his, I just love that so much more than this one. I don't know. It's just you gotta drive it yourself to feel, but not a huge fan of it. It's decent. It came with the car, so that's why I'm not changing it out quite yet. But would I buy it for myself after testing out an RTD? No, I would get the RTD instead. So I guess since we're on the interior, we'll keep going with that. We got my Sparco seat. This is a Sparco Evo. On the driver's side, we have a Sparco Pro Advanced with the Halo focus. OEM passenger seatbelt, but also have a 5-point harness. For me, I have a 6-point harness from Race Tech. With Sparco side mounts, as well as Beamer World floor mounts. So here is the Race Tech harnesses. We have an Auto Power half cage. With a trunk delete. And I mean, the interior, not too much is done. Oil pressure gauge, oil temp gauge, water temp gauge, a Renlin quick release. And then right here is my Spall E-fan. So flick it and it'll help keep engine temps down. So I guess we'll go ahead and talk about the motor. So on the motor, so this motor was swapped out from the original motor with a new top end. It has the M50 manifold, which gives you about 30% more airflow, and it's tuned by a guy here in the Bay Area, Eric Tune. It has the AFE intake with that massive 4.5-inch intake filter, a Mishimoto radiator for cooling, and one cool thing is the water temp gauge is in there, but then the cluster gauge is tapped into the heads of the motor, so you get that in case your head gaskets are about to lift. But basically that's it for the motor. Nothing is upgraded too extensively, but we're going to make sure everything is upgraded to keep this car running. Power steering is on the future. Water pump is done. Like I said, I got the E-fan in, but that's basically it. Motor wise, nothing too crazy. Like I said, we're trying to keep this car happy and alive on track, so don't want to touch anything, don't want to boost it, want to keep it NA. And on track, watching my oil temps, I mean, they never got really above 200, whereas the Subaru is always peaking 260 or more. For brakes, we have a brake cooling kit with the fog light delete, and then it is paired with Zimmerman rotors and the Pagid RS44 pads, which I need to swap out and actually get some street pads because I don't want to keep running through track pads. We have, for an exhaust, it's actually just an axle back. It's the Stromong exhaust, which sounds really good. I'll give you guys some sound clips. But yeah, for the most part, this car doesn't have a ton of stuff done to it. But like I said before, just making sure that it runs well. So we're making sure all the bushings and the suspension is done, keeping the motor happy with all of that. But I think on the list would be better coilovers, because these ones are decent, they ride well. But I definitely, you know, there's more top-notch quality coilovers out there than these ground control ones. But yeah, that's basically gonna do it for the walk around. It's not extensive like the Subaru, but it definitely is a good track build. This is what you consider a prepped class BMW. You can add one more piece of aero to the front because I only have one in the rear, which is the wing, so I could add a front splitter. The interior from the front, from the B-pillars up, is fully OEM, and then you could have the back seat gutted, but you still need the carpet because of the half cage. Trunk has to be fully intact with everything. So yeah, this is what a prep class E36 M3 looks like, and if you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to ask down below. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please, if you could take the time to like and subscribe if you haven't, that'd be awesome. Want to keep this channel growing for M3 content, and I'll see you guys on the track.